The evolution of traditional JRPGs has seen numerous iconic franchises rise and fall in prominence. Among these, Persona and the newer Final Fantasy entries represent two contrasting approaches to the genre, particularly in the areas of music, art, and graphics, and storytelling. While Final Fantasy once defined the JRPG landscape, Persona has emerged in recent years as the premier series in the genre. This shift in status can be attributed to Persona's cohesive and innovative approach compared to the increasingly polarizing direction of modern Final Fantasy games. With that said, let's get into it. First off, let's talk about some music. Music has always been a hallmark of JRPGs, and Persona and Final Fantasy both deliver in this regard and deliver it well, albeit in fundamentally different ways. The Final Fantasy series, known for its sweeping orchestral scores composed by legends like Nobuo Uematsu, aims for grandeur and cinematic flair. Newer entries such as Final Fantasy XV and Final Fantasy XVI emphasize high-fidelity soundtracks that complement their epic, action-driven narratives. These scores are undeniably impressive, but sometimes feel detached from the emotional core of the characters or overwhelmed by the sheer scale of their presentation. In contrast, Persona employs a more intimate and eclectic musical style, blending genres such as jazz, rock, and electronic music. Also, before I even go any further, I'm not saying the Final Fantasy music is bad. I love Final Fantasy music, but I'm just kind of contrasting the different styles between Persona and Final Fantasy. Shoji Meguro's compositions in Persona 5 exemplify this approach, using catchy, thematically rich tracks like Beneath the Mask and Life Will Change to underscore the game's dual focus on daily life and exhilarating battles. The music is tightly integrated into gameplay and storytelling, creating a cohesive atmosphere that immerses players in Persona's world. This accessibility and emotional resonance give Persona a musical edge over the increasingly cinematic focus of Final Fantasy. That is just a personal opinion. If you like the sweeping Final Fantasy scores more, I definitely totally get that because they are great. And honestly, it's like picking between 1A and 1B. But I like the music in the modern Persona games a little bit better, is all I'm saying. Also, there's the art and graphics. The visual styles of Persona and modern Final Fantasy games reflect their differing priorities. Final Fantasy has pushed the boundaries of graphical fidelity always since the inception of the series, with each new entry striving for photorealism, it seems like. Final Fantasy XV showcased breathtaking open-world environments, while 16 delivered hyper-detailed character models and dynamic action sequences. However, this emphasis on realism sometimes comes at the cost of a distinctive aesthetic, resulting in visuals that, while technically impressive, can feel generic compared to the genre's traditionally vibrant roots. Persona, on the other hand, embraces stylized art that prioritizes personality and thematic consistency over raw technical prowess. Persona 5 in particular has been lauded for its bold anime-inspired visuals, which use striking color palettes, dynamic menu designs, which is very underrated, by the way, and imaginative dungeon aesthetics to create a unique visual identity. This approach not only differentiates Persona from its contemporaries, but also reinforces its thematic focus on rebellion, individuality, and youthful energy by prioritizing style and artistic coherence. Persona crafts a more memorable and enduring visual experience. Furthermore, Persona consistently utilizes visual motifs and symbolism to enhance its storytelling. The use of masks, tarot cards, and dynamic shadow designs in Persona 5 exemplifies how the art direction is deeply interwoven with the narrative themes. These elements create a layer of subtext that rewards attentive players, a stark contrast to Final Fantasy's tendency to prioritize spectacle over subtlety. Storytelling is perhaps the area where the divergence between Persona and modern Final Fantasy is most pronounced. And when I say modern, it's really what I'm talking about is 15 and 16. but I can see the trend that Square Enix is going in. The newer Final Fantasy entries, while ambitious, have struggled with narrative cohesion. 15 in particular was criticized for its fragmented storytelling, which relied heavily on supplementary media to kind of fill in some crucial gaps here and there. Also, Final Fantasy 16 embraced a darker, more mature tone, drawing inspiration from Western fantasy, but faced criticism for its linear structure and uneven pacing. I'm not mad about the tone of Final Fantasy 16. I just feel like Final Fantasy has always had some levity thrown in there, right? More side content, card games, Blitzball, Chocobo Hot and Cold, things like that. Silly side quests, silly characters. There was a side quest in Final Fantasy 12 where you had to bring like this cactus child back to its cactus family. You know, things like that. It didn't always take itself so seriously, is what I'm saying. While these newer Final Fantasy games attempt to appeal to broader audiences, their narratives often lack the emotional depth and relatability that defined earlier entries in the series. Yeah, if you think that the new Final Fantasies are anywhere near as relatable or loved as the older games, I would respectfully disagree with you. In contrast, Persona excels in weaving deeply personal and socially relevant stories. Each game explores themes such as identity, mental health, and societal pressures, grounding its fantastical elements in the struggles of its characters. The dual structure of Persona, which combines turn-based combat with life simulation mechanics, allows players to form meaningful connections with the cast. For example, the confidence system in Persona 5 not only deepens character relationships, but also ties directly into gameplay, making narrative progression feel organic and rewarding. This focus on character-driven storytelling has resonated strongly with players, giving Persona a distinctive narrative edge nowadays. Additionally, Persona games often confront contemporary social issues in ways that resonate with modern players, from corruption and abuse of power to themes of self-discovery and acceptance. The narratives are grounded in experiences that feel relevant and impactful. This grounded storytelling, combined with the fantastical elements of the metaverse or the TV world, creates a balance that engages players on multiple levels. That being said, I don't particularly think that the Final Fantasy 16 or 15 stories are bad. I just think they're a little ho-hum, you know, especially 15. I wanted to love 15 more than I did, and 16 I liked enough. I just wasn't a big fan of the combat. It's a great game, but it's not a great Final Fantasy game. Call me the gatekeeper. The gameplay philosophies of Persona and Final Fantasy further illustrate their differences. Modern Final Fantasy games have shifted toward real-time action combat. While these systems are fluid and cinematic and pretty cool to look at and play, they often blur the line between JRPG and action-adventure, leaving some fans longing for the strategic depth of turn-based mechanics. This evolution has led to criticisms that Final Fantasy is losing its identity as a traditional JRPG franchise, and I think that's just obvious. And you can put Devil May Cry and Final Fantasy next to each other, and you wouldn't really be able to tell the difference. Persona, in contrast, has stayed true to its turn-based roots while innovating within that framework. The combat in Persona 5 is fast-paced and stylish, with mechanics like baton pass and elemental weaknesses encouraging strategy and rewarding careful planning. The integration of dungeon crawling with social simulation adds layers and layers and layers of depth, creating a gameplay loop that feels both refreshing and familiar. This adherence to and evolution of traditional JRPG mechanics has helped Persona retain its identity while appealing to modern audiences. I don't necessarily blame Square Enix for going the action route, because there was a big chunk of time where like people were just like thinking on the whole that JRPGs, turn-based combat was on the way out. But you have to give credit to Atlus and the Persona series and the devs for sticking to their guns and keeping Persona as a whole very close to its JRPG roots. Moreover, Persona's life simulation elements provide a unique dimension to the gameplay experience. Balancing schoolwork, friendship, and part-time jobs alongside dungeon exploration gives players a sense of agency and immersion that is rare in the genre. This blend of mundane and extraordinary reinforces the series' themes of duality and personal growth, offering a depth that many modern Final Fantasy games struggle to replicate. The cultural impact of Persona also speaks to its ascension as the premier JRPG franchise. The series' distinctive style, memorable characters, and engaging stories have led to a strong and passionate fan base. Persona 5 in particular has become a cultural phenomenon, spawning anime adaptations, concert spin-off games, and extensive merchandise. Its influence extends beyond gaming, with its themes and aesthetics resonating across media and pop culture. In comparison, modern Final Fantasy games have faced more divisive receptions, struggling to capture the same widespread acclaim and loyalty as their predecessors. While still a household name, the series has faced criticism for losing touch with its roots and prioritizing spectacle over substance. This shift has alienated some longtime fans. I would include myself into that, even as the game attempts to attract new audiences. And I'm not really lumping Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Remake into this because it's a well-known property, Final Fantasy VII, even though I actually like the combat in Final Fantasy VII Remake more than Final Fantasy XVI. People will always love Final Fantasy VII. I don't know what the point I'm making is. I don't lump that in with the new direction of the franchise. The commercial performance of Persona 5 and Final Fantasy XVI kind of highlights the shifting dynamics between these two franchises. Persona 5, released in 2016, has sold over 9 million copies across various editions, which is a pretty remarkable feat for a series that was once considered very niche. This success underscores the game's ability to appeal to both dedicated JRPG fans and to newcomers, thanks to its compelling characters, stylish presentation, and accessible yet deep mechanics. In contrast, Final Fantasy XVI, despite being one of the most anticipated games of 2023, has struggled to meet the high sales expectations typically associated with the franchise. While it achieved respectable initial numbers, the decline in momentum and mixed reception from fans have raised concerns about the series' ability to sustain its long-standing dominance in the genre. This is not all on Final Fantasy XVI though. I think Square Enix locking the game to just the PlayStation for a long time definitely hurt the sales. So that's not all, and obviously Persona 5 has been out longer, so naturally it has sold more. But that being said, the numbers are the numbers. I don't think Final Fantasy XVI, despite being released on PC, and I think it's coming to Xbox, it's not going to sell over 9 million copies. This comparison not only underscores Persona's rise as a commercial juggernaut, but also highlights the challenges faced by Final Fantasy in maintaining its relevance. Persona's strong sales are a testament to its ability to innovate while staying true to the core elements of JRPGs, while Final Fantasy's struggles reflects the risk of attempting to reinvent itself in pursuit of broader appeal. While Final Fantasy remains a titan of the JRPG genre, its recent entries have struggled to balance technical ambition with the heart and soul that once defined the series. Meanwhile, Persona has ascended to become the shining beacon of the genre, blending innovative music, cohesive art styles, emotionally resonant storytelling, and engaging gameplay mechanics into a captivating package. By staying true to its roots while embracing modernity with confidence and purpose, Persona has redefined what a JRPG can be in this modern gaming age. Its ability to forge deep emotional connections and tackle relevant social themes has not only set a new standard for the genre, but also captured the hearts of a global audience. In doing so, Persona has become a symbol of the JRPG's enduring charm and potential, demonstrating that tradition and innovation can thrive together in harmony. All right, that's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. All that good stuff. It is much appreciated. Let me know if you agree or disagree with my take, and it's cool if you don't like it. Let me know in the comments and we can duke it out and see who comes out on top. And let me know some Persona memories, some Final Fantasy memories. Do you like the direction that the franchises are going in? Yeah, for me personally, I'm just not a big fan of the action combat. And while I like the backdrop of 16's Western fantasy take, it feels a little generic to me. I don't know. It lacks a little stylistic flair. I think Final Fantasy sometimes, especially now, it takes itself a little too seriously. It's lost a little bit of that charm, like I was talking about, a little bit of that levity, a little bit of that silliness, and, childlike wonder. But that's just me. Let me know what you think. Anyways, thank you very, very much for watching. God bless and have a great day.